You know, as you know, I'm on this channel right here. I've always reviewed movies that I really love, movies that I gave positive reviews. One of these are like an A plus or a B or B plus, of course. But of course, there is a time I actually did review a movie that's not a positive review, and that was Jurassic Park 3. And I gave that one a C plus, and it was an okay movie. And I hardly review movies I ever gave a bad review. Never in my life I want to talk about a bad movie. Well, I guess I might as well do. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but just let you know, this is me having an honest opinion. It's not your opinion. It's not anyone else's opinion. I'm not on this side that's forced me to like this movie, and I'm not on this side that's forced me to hate this movie. This is just me having a voice of my own. Whether you agree or disagree, here I go. So anyway, it's Matthew once again, and it's 8:47 p.m. here in Texas, and now, of course, I have reviewed the first Ghostbusters movie, which is a classic. I really love this movie. The comedy, the characters, the story. It was a whole lot of fun. Some effects are a bit dated, but the most part it really holds up. I'm still not a fan of that dream scene. If I need to keep telling this to myself for like a million times. And of course, I review the sequel that no one's a big fan of, but at the end of it, it still is a mixed bag of a film, whether they like or hate this film. But to me, I like it. It's not as good as the first one, but it still was a fun, entertaining sequel. So I like Ghostbusters 2. And of course, yes, this DVD came from this. So, yep. So there's that. And of course, I wasn't sure about watching this movie or seeing this movie. But of course, this movie is now officially, if I could do the math, 3 years old, as the year is 2019, and this marks the 35th anniversary of the original Ghostbusters. I might as well review this movie. But now, just remember, I am not on anyone's side to forcing me to say this movie's good or force me to say it's bad. It's just me having an opinion. And I'm going to have an honest opinion. Whether you like my opinion or not, I'm just going to go out with it. I'm not sure how I might get a lot of hate for this, especially how controversial it is. Especially when this movie came out, everyone hated it. And that is, I can't believe I saw it, but I had to. I avoided this movie when it came out, and I didn't want to see it in theaters. But as the more it kept coming in my head, it always just keeps telling me that I have to see this movie just to get it over with and move on and never think about it again. And I am going to do a review of the 2016 reboot of Ghostbusters, or Ghostbusters Answer the Call, which I think is a pretty lame title, especially if it was too late to call it in the beginning, because when this movie came out, everyone marketed it as Ghostbusters, but they can't call it Ghostbusters 2016 because they thought it would date the film. And of course, this movie is directed by Paul Feig, who did movies like Bridesmaid, The Heat, and Spy, and A Simple Favor, and Unaccompanied Minor, and directed some of the episodes of The Office, and he was actually one of the camp counselors in a Disney film called Heavyweights, which I really enjoy Heavyweights. It was a fun Disney film. I have not seen any of Paul Feig's films other than one, which is, of course, it also features Melissa McCarthy, and that would be Spy, which I thought it was okay. I'm just not the biggest fan of Spy, but it's an okay film. I know people love it, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. But it's an okay movie. It's an okay movie. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's just okay. So, and this movie features, instead of wearing, I'm not wearing my Ghostbusters t-shirt at all because none of the actors from the original film reprised the role, but instead they're just playing these unnecessary cameos, like Bill Murray playing Martin Hayes, Annie Potts as the hotel clerk, Sigourney Weaver playing this chick's scientist, as well as you have Dan Aykroyd being a cab driver, and you have a statue of Harold Ramis and Ernie Hudson being a funeral home guy. So the new cast features Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Katie McKinnon, Leslie Jones, and also Chris Hemsworth in it. And I think you have Andy Garcia as the mayor. And Paul Feig directed this film and also co-wrote it with Katie Leopold. And before I give you my thoughts on this film here, especially I know this is not going to be a positive review because this has never happened to me before because I had never reviewed a movie that I ever gave a bad review, but because I know critics out there really like this film. But the fan base here, it was just, eh. So, I guess without further ado, here's the history behind this film. After when Ghostbusters 2 came around, it did well at the box office, but it wasn't the hit as the studio thought it would be, and neither does the filmmakers. Even Bill Murray himself was not the biggest fan of Ghostbusters 2. He thought it was okay, but wanted to go to the first one. But Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, they were keen on writing another Ghostbusters movie, which of course will be Ghostbusters 3, would be in the 90s. But Bill Murray, of course, starts becoming the holdup of the project, and who is not very enthusiastic to doing another one due to what happened in the second movie. And they were thinking about getting some other actors to be the Ghostbusters, like having Chris Farley and Chris Rock and Ben Stiller as the new Ghostbusters. And one of the concepts that Dan Aykroyd had in mind was where the Ghostbusters go to hell, which is called Ghostbusters Hellbent, when they go to a hellish version of Manhattan called Manhattan. And that never came to fruition. I mean, Ghostbusters 3 has been going on for so long, and Dan Aykroyd just keeps being so optimistic, saying that it's going to get made, it's going to get made, it's going to get made, but it just never did. Until now, which is coming out next year, which we'll get to that one later about that new Ghostbusters teaser trailer, which I'll talk about that later on after I give you my thoughts on the movie. And around the late 2000s, Dan Aykroyd did say the movie was going to get made as an animated film, like the CGI Ninja Turtle movie that came out in 2007. But as soon as when Bill Murray was doing City of Amber for a press conference, he said that the wounds of Ghostbusters 2 have healed, and they got writers like Gene Stupinski and Lee Eisenberg to write their version of Ghostbusters 3, who are well known to write for some of the episodes of The Office. Now, Bill Murray thought it could work, and of course, they actually did wrote a script, and Bill Murray didn't even read it at all, and I don't think. And especially because he heard news that their film that Harold Ramis directed, his last film called Year One, which is a film that both Gene Stupinski and Lee Eisenberg wrote, but the film wasn't that good either. But then in 2009, during the 25th anniversary of Ghostbusters, along came there was a video game, Ghostbusters, a video game that features Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson. It has Annie Potts in it, it has William Afton in it, and the mayor itself this time around, instead of getting, David Margolis, who did the first two Ghostbusters movies as the mayor, this time it's Brian Daryl Murray, Bill Murray's real life brother, playing the mayor. And of course, Annie Potts is in it, and I know Walter Peck, William Afton is in it. But for Sigourney and Rick Moranis, they're not in it. But of course, the new love interest will be Alyssa Milano. And I have played this video game, and this is by far the closest thing we ever going to get as a Ghostbusters 3. Until now, which we'll get to that later. And it was a lot of fun. The graphics are great, the presentation, the story, and the action, and some of the cool equipment for their proton packs. It's really cool stuff. I really recommend this game. It's a lot of fun. But then, of course, there was rumors that Bill Murray shredded the script because he said no one wants to see a fat man chasing ghosts. But Dan Aykroyd denied that rumor that Bill Murray is not capable of such behavior. Especially before that, Dan Aykroyd did say that they wrote Bill Murray the common role of a lifetime, and Bill Murray said that he says he will be killed off in the first role as if he will become a ghost. Which I wasn't sure about that concept, if I would think Bill Murray being a ghost, like killing Peter Feynman off. I just really don't know how I feel about that. Unless it could win me over, I don't know, but I don't think you should kill Peter Feynman off because he is my favorite Ghostbuster. But then, of course, it kept going on, and Ghostbusters 3 just got very tiring as we keep hearing stuff on the internet, and Dan Aykroyd still kept saying this movie is going to work without Bill Murray, which I don't think it will, because you always got to have four guys together. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson. It was just these three, I don't know. I'm not sure if I could watch the film without Bill Murray in it. I know he's difficult to get, but you still got to at least keep on trying to reconsider that he will participate, and as well as even to care about getting the film made. And I know that there were rumors about getting another actor to play another Peter Venkman, like do the James Bond thing, like having Ben Stiller as a new Peter Venkman, or get Bruce Campbell, or I don't know. But then, of course, Bill Murray actually did sign some State Park Marshal Menthol during the premiere of another movie he was doing, and Dan Aykroyd said he prayed hope that he's in. But then around 2014, during the 30th anniversary of Ghostbusters, when tragedy struck, Harold Ramis sadly passed away. So now all we have left is these three guys, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson. It really is a shame. But of course, until later on, when I started watching the first movie again, it did feel pretty hard that Harold Ramis is no longer with us. And he was really not only a good actor, but a very good filmmaker, well known for directing movies like Caddyshack and National Lampoon's Vacation, even Groundhog Day. And he was good in Strabs, and as well as Egon in Ghostbusters 1 and 2. But then, of course, along came, there was Paul Feig, who was once going to be offered to direct Ghostbusters 3, but he just wasn't really interested in making it. But instead, he wanted to make this movie. And that's what he had in mind. Just have these movies be centered around about women. And then, of course, they started casting actresses to play these parts, and Bill Murray was like, I'm okay with it. I could go see it. And he named 2 actors he got right that were cast, Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy. But the others were like Emma Stone and Linda Cardellino, who you may recognize her as Velma for the first 2 live-action Scooby-Doo movies. Emma Stone was offered for that part, but turned it down. She really did praise the script, but she just wasn't really interested in doing another franchise after doing the first 2 Amazing Spider-Man movies. So, of course, filming has begun, and I've been seeing some pictures of it, and wasn't so sure about it, that was going to work. But then, of course, the trailer came online, and then everyone hated it. Everyone thought this looks like the worst thing they've ever seen, and everyone was just making a big deal about the whole women being Ghostbusters, and the effects looking like Haunted Mansion or Scooby-Doo, and the humor being not right, especially lines like, that stuff went everywhere, by the way, in every crack. Very hard to wash off. Was it a hat? Maybe it's the hair, was it? It was just very cringeworthy. And when I saw that trailer, I just didn't think it looked that good. I mean, I did get a laugh out of Leslie Jones during the end of the trailer. That was it. That's the only thing I ever got a laugh out of. And then I saw the second trailer, and I still wasn't really feeling it. And then, of course, when before the movie came out, I know there's been people out there that were getting a lot of flags about this movie, especially not wanting to see it. Most notably, if you want to know more history about Ghostbusters 3, you should go to Cinemassacre.com. His name is James Roll, the Angry Video Game Nerd, and really am a fan of the guy's work. And of course, I am a fan of the AVGN movie, and he got a lot of hate as well, especially when he says that he refused to review this movie and watch it. And they start attacking him because everyone saw it is about the whole gender thing, that he's being misogynist or sexist, but I'm not misogynist or sexist, and no, I have nothing against this film because of the gender. It's just that the way I saw the film, it just didn't look that good. I wasn't a fan of the presentation and all that sort of stuff, which I'll get to. So no, I'm not going to say it in my review that I don't like this film because of the women. No. It's nothing to do with the gender. Absolutely nothing. And James Roll, of course, did explain to the situation on Porn Expo, especially he got a lot of hate, especially someone like Dane Cook or Patton Oswalt, as if they never heard of James Roll. Which is better when he says that he didn't plan on seeing a second Independence Day movie because it didn't feature Will Smith in it, which, that's another thing I will, man. I didn't see Independence Day Resurgence because it didn't have Will Smith in it, and the way I saw it just, I mean, I would be okay if Will Smith was on it. I mean, I wouldn't mind having a sequel to Independence Day, but the way I just saw it, I just wasn't really into it. Especially whether or not this film needed a sequel or did it really need to be a franchise in the first place. Especially the Hollywood just running out of ideas, just milking and milking it. They gotta have money. And of course, this movie came out officially on, as I'm looking at my phone right here, it came out on July 15, 2016, which, believe it or not, that movie was supposed to originally going to come out on June 22nd, 2016. It was originally supposed to come out the same day when the Power Rangers reboot from Lionsgate, a 2017 film that came out on my birthday, March 24th. But Power Rangers moved it to another day till Martin Luther King in January 2017 is then my birthday. Which I'm very thankful for because I've always thought that this movie would have destroyed Power Rangers in the box office, and I'm glad Power Rangers stood away from that film until Beauty and the Beast came around, and then it beat Power Rangers in the box office, which I have seen the Beauty and the Beast movie, and I'm sorry if I'm getting a little off topic here again, but I saw the movie and I liked it okay, but I just like Power Rangers better in my opinion. But of course, they're two different movies, and especially I know I wish Power Rangers would have made more money at the box office if it was marketed better and everything, or just be away from other movies or trying to avoid the competition. And this movie, of course, it suffered the competition as it came out around, as I said before, July 15, 2016. It opened to mixed to positive reviews by critics, and Richard Roper is one of those critics who did not give a good review, and he got a lot of hate as well, but he had to explain the situation. It has nothing to do with the gender. It was just about its technical mirrors. It didn't say it was unfunny, and the effects look cartoonish lookingly bad, and the acting isn't that good either. And the film itself ended up becoming a box office disappointing, as according to Box Office Mojo, it made like $128.3 million against its $144 million budget, by grossing only $229,147,509 at the box office. So it really didn't make that much of a good profit either. And then, of course, it came to DVD and Blu-ray, and now this movie is left on hold of whether or not there's ever going to be a sequel. And I know that Paul Feig was not really happy that people who are trashing this movie, as well as Leslie Jones, that they're getting so much haters on the internet that people kept saying, oh, I don't like this movie, and the women's in it, it just destroyed my childhood, and this and that. And Paul Feig just let out a saying, and just, he just couldn't deal with it. But of course, he later regretted that he should never be this far-fetched when it comes to haters on the internet. And especially he doesn't like it when they call this movie a chick flick, but I don't know what you want me to call it. I mean, I can't just say Ghostbusters. When you call the name Ghostbusters, people are going to say, are you talking about this Ghostbusters? Or are you talking about this Ghostbusters? They both feature the same title, but of course in this home video release, it was given a subtitle called Ghostbusters Answer the Call, which I just think is very too little, too late for that. They should have called it in the first place. They would have called it Ghostbusters The Next Generation, but they couldn't call it Ghostbusters 2016 because they thought it would date the film. But if I would have called it something else, which I know no one will use it, but to me, I just call it Ghostbusters The Chick Flick Edition. Even Paul Feig doesn't like it when they call this movie a chick flick. And I don't hate chick flick movies. I love chick flick movies like Juno, Time Traveler's Wife, and Devil Wears Prada, and pretty much name to count. And now, after all the rambling here, I know this movie was going to suck. I have to fully admit it, and I'm sorry, I really don't like this movie. Not because of the gender. It has nothing to do with that at all. So, I don't want you to attack me. They call me misogynist or sexist, but this is just me having an honest opinion. So just bear with me. Bear with me. And of course, yes, as much as I really don't like this movie, it will contain spoilers. So, all I can say is, it's not really the actress's fault. I'm not blaming Kristen Wiig, or Leslie Jones, or Katie McKinnon, or Melissa McCarthy. Which also another thing, when I saw Spy, Melissa McCarthy, I thought she was okay, but some of her comedy style, it just didn't work for my taste, which I can't tell what it is, I can't explain what it is, but just something about her in that movie, it just didn't seem to click me. Maybe just I'm just not a big fan of her comedy, but I'm pretty sure she's a nice person, but it is that her style of comedy isn't really my taste. I mean, I love Jason Statham, but I thought he should have been the lead. This would have been like his live action hero. So yeah, I'm not really much of a Melissa McCarthy fan. I don't know much about her work, but if I see more movies of her, maybe I might like Melissa McCarthy more. But for right now, for this movie, I don't think she was really that good because she's very much an unlikable character and always blamouts other things, as well as she gets upset. Most importantly, the whole wonton saying, which it was definitely the running gag of the film. So, if I'm trying to remember correctly, which of course, believe it or not, I did watch this movie for the second time around, as I did watch it tonight, and be sure that I wasn't wrong that I really did not like this movie since the first time I saw it. And I watched it again for the second time, and yeah, I still don't like this movie. So I thought her character isn't that very well done at all. I know she doesn't do the whole shtick that she does in other films. I mean, again, I don't know much about Liz McCarthy. I really don't know about her work at all. Kristen Wiig here is just more like, how do I put this? They did give her a backstory that she was haunted by ghosts and how much it traumatized her in her childhood, but the way it just played out, it just, I don't know, nothing just seemed to feel like I didn't care about her whatsoever. Especially like her relationship with Melissa McCarthy here. They just started like they really don't like each other after all, but of course, the chemistry doesn't seem to work for me, and I just didn't see anything remotely funny going on between the two of them. But until when Katie McKinnon, which, like Melissa McCarthy, I don't know about her work either. I mean, this is my first time knowing about Katie McKinnon. And her performance in that movie is really not that good either. I mean, it was nothing but quirk, and she was annoying. She annoyed me to death, and always just has to make all these facial expressions, and trying to be all look like, oh, because I'm weird, and trying to ask you questions about, like, is it a hat? Maybe it's the wig, is it? And Leslie Jones, I mean, even when I saw that first trailer, I thought she was going to be the best thing about this movie. I thought she was going to get a laugh out of me, but when I saw her in the film, nothing. Nothing made me laugh at all. Except there were some jokes that do make me laugh, like, first off, the subway part when she first sees a ghost and she's like, you know what? I'm cool. That got a laugh out of me. And they're busting their first ghost, and she says, if I see two twins at a shining, I'm out of here. Which that also give me a laugh, as well as the oh heck no, the devil is alive. The power of panic compels you. And that's it. So I got like 3 or 4 jokes from Leslie Jones that got a laugh out of me, but for the most part, I was completely underwhelmed by it, disappointed that she really wasn't that funny after all. I mean, none of the characters were that likable, and I mean, I'm not blaming on the actresses. It's just they were just not given enough funny to say, especially due to the writing department by Paul Feig and Kate Diepold. Even the director by Paul Feig isn't that good either, and especially with this type of film, it just went for the lowest common denominator of lowbrow humor when you have something like fart jokes and guy pooping his pants and this and that, and especially the rating on this film, it says it's rated PG-13 and only contains supernatural action and some crude humor, which, if you look in the original Ghostbusters film, it didn't have these kind of humor like this. I can't describe what the humor was in the original film, but it was like natural humor. And the characters that I saw in the film, they were very likable, and they were actually more the blue-collar type, and these characters in this 2016 movie, they don't act like real people. It was just nothing but completely stereotypes where you have a token black girl, the girl who's always, I don't know, look like she's being turned on or something. And you have a scientist who always keep talking about wonton jokes. And you have the annoying one who's always trying to be funny. And Chris Hemsworth's character being a receptionist, which I love Chris Hemsworth. I love him as Thor, and I just don't know, like, why do you always have to appear in these franchises reboots like Red Dawn and Ghostbusters? And it's like, how many times do they keep having Chris Hemsworth be in these movies? I mean, again, I love him in Thor. He was fantastic in Thor, and I do love him in Rush, but he wasn't that funny either until the very end of the movie when he asked for another sandwich. That got a laugh out of me. But I really did not like any of these characters, and everyone in this world was just, they're really so hard to care about, because I really wanted to like this film. I want to, because I know critics like this film, and I thought I would feel the same way like they do. I thought it would be like, you know what, maybe this isn't that bad. I don't think it's bad as most people make it out to be. But for what I just saw, it wasn't. None of this movie ever really made me laugh. It's too long. They should have cut some bit out of it. Oh yeah, speaking of not getting the actors to reprise their roles at Ghostbusters, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson, but instead they just got them as cameos, as well as Sigourney Weaver and Annie Potts. It was just very unnecessary. You have Bill Murray playing Dr. Martin Hyde, who's always a sketch. He doesn't live in ghosts. I don't know what's the purpose of having a movie. I guess just remind us that about how much like we love the original Ghostbusters, and they're like, hey, remember Bill Murray? Remember Dan Aykroyd? L. Ramis? Which of course he's just a statue, by the way. And you have Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, and oh yeah, even Ozzy Osbourne's in it. It's like, yeah, because you remind me of the original film, and now I might as well just watch this movie over this. Oh my goodness, my brain is frying out because I'm trying to remember everything about this movie because this movie just really makes me feel cold, feel bitter. Nothing warmed my heart to that. I just wasn't really caring about this movie. And the movie itself, it just keeps repeating stuff that we've seen from the first movie, which even Ghostbusters 2, I'll admit, it did have some elements like the first movie, but I still think it was enough trying to be more like its own thing, despite referencing the first movie. But this one, it just took things way too far, except that you made it more like a cartoon. Of course, Ghostbusters 2 was a bit kid-friendly, but it did have some scary moments in it. This one is not even close enough for having a PG-13 movie. It just feels like a soft PG-13 movie that's aimed toward kids. Because even the original Ghostbusters movies, even the second one, despite that for being kid-friendly, it has some edge to it when it's rated PG. And the first Ghostbusters movie, it had an edge, and it was rated PG as well. So right now, I didn't think any of this movie really scared me. The first movie, even the first movie itself, it was definitely more like a comedy, but it just adds like a horror film in the way how it was shot and everything. And it was a very well-filmed movie. I mean, it's very well filmed, just like the way how it looks. But of course, due to the sense of the real Ghostbusters, they changed it for Ghostbusters 2, and they made it more like the real Ghostbusters cartoon, but still has some scary moments in it. But this one is never on the same level as the first movie. I mean, I know the movie itself is trying to be different. You're trying to be your own, so you know that. I mean, I get it, it's fine. But just because it's different, that doesn't make it as good. I know it doesn't mean it's bad either. I mean, if you're gonna be different, then you gotta at least have the execution to work. Before I saw, it wasn't very well executed. It's just that you have elements like you have a scientist who works in university, gets fired, and you have these other two that also get kicked out, and then of course they start going to their own ghost business. They do get the Chinese restaurant because later on they'll get the firehouse toward the end of the movie. And you also do have, if I can remember this movie, instead of the library, you had the museum, and then of course they counter their first ghost and saying, oh hi, my name is Aaron Gilbert, I am from the University of blah 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 blah. Then the ghost just completely vomits on her with slime. I mean, oh my goodness. I'm still talking about this movie, and I don't feel like I want to talk about it either. And I'm still having a hard time remembering it because this movie just completely shuts my brain off, and all I could do is just stare at it with a blank stare. And that's the way how I feel about this movie. And it just goes on, and every joke, they just don't know when to shut up. And of course, yeah, they do get a car, and then of course they start chasing their first ghost. And instead of the hotel, you do have the rock concert. And of course, they actually do catch their first ghost. And of course, Bill Murray shows up at the Chinese restaurant. And then of course, sees the ghost for the first time. Then of course, he gets killed off. Which of course, Bill Murray got his wish to be killed off in the movie. But however, I will say, at least he's not playing Peter Fagman in that film. At least I'll give it that. And also, of course, I realized this movie really has no montage. Because in the first two Ghostbusters movies, they had a montage, and it gives you a lot of investment with the story, and you see the Ghostbusters trying to go and rally up to their success when they're going from zero to hero. So, I mean, again, trying to be your own thing, but I don't know, sometimes you really gotta have a montage. And no, I'm not gonna be one of those guys go like, I want the same movie, I want the same movie. I mean, there's nothing wrong with you're trying to be different, but it has to be done well. Before I just saw, it just wasn't well done for my personal taste. And of course, you had the villain named Roland, he really isn't that good. He's played by Neil Casey, who I'm not familiar with, and he really wasn't that funny either. He wasn't that threatening, and his hair, of course, reminds me of Giannis from Ghostbusters 2. In the first Ghostbusters movie, there was at least some sort of threat going on, and the stakes were really high, and especially there's something evil that's about to enter to their world. And of course, along came Gozer, and she had a nice look to it. She was evil, she was menacing, and she had a very demonic voice. Are you a god? I mean, you really do buy this villain. Of course, she wasn't in the movie that much, but you can feel the presence of Gozer, that there is a threat to it. Especially you have Sewell, the gatekeeper, and Finn's Clorso, the keymaster. There's at least a threat going on there, and you know Sewell really has a presence. And of course, you have Ghostbusters 2, which of course Vigo isn't really that much of a menacing villain as Gozer, but he is a fun villain. He does look like a guy who really looks like he want to beat you up. And of course, you have Pierre Manicola playing Janos, who's having the role of a lifetime. He was really a lot of fun. So, the films in the original films were well done than this villain. But of course, instead of becoming a Stay Puft Marshmallow, which of course Stay Puft makes a cameo in that film, but only as an inflatable balloon. But instead, he takes the form of the Ghost logo. And then, of course, instead of crossing the streams, they destroyed the Ectomobile, the Ghostbusters themselves, and of course, they slapped the Ghost logo in the crotch. So that's how this movie is. But now, I know I'm rambling on all the negativity here, but now I know you're probably wondering, is there anything I like out of this movie? Well, the movie itself is really not funny. The only one that I ever got a laugh out of is Slimer, who appears in the end of the film. And that one kind of gave me a nice smirk to it, or smile. I mean, because I just don't know like how I'm more familiar with Slimer and the character I already know and love from the original two Ghostbusters movies as well as the cartoon. But then when you have this movie, you have four characters that I could care less about, but Slimer is the only one that I'm familiar with, and he's the only one that I really care for. And of course, he gets Mrs. Slimer, which of course is like Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man. They start driving around the Ectomobile, which that actually really got a laugh out of me. I mean, I'll admit, Slimer is like the best part about this movie. And you know what I'm saying? This whole movie should have been about Slimer. And you know what? I could pay whatever money I could give this movie if they can have Slimer get his own film. So please, make it happen. Make it happen. I would like to see Slimer get his own movie. And the effects themselves are very CGI-ish. I mean, they look better than the trailer, I will admit that. They're very well done and all, but at the end of it, it just comes out being CG. Of course, yes, I mean, I did see some behind-the-scenes footage that they actually did get some actors in camera rather than just reacting to tennis balls, which I guess I'll give it that. You're trying to do scenes that are actually there in camera. But at the same time, it still comes off for looking CG. So I really wasn't too crazy about the effects as well. And none of the ghosts looked that creative, with the exception of the ghost balloons, which I'll give it that. That was kind of creative. And some of the gadgets, I will admit, they were kind of cool, actually. And the Fall Out Boy song, who did the Ghostbusters theme, I actually really didn't mind that at all. I mean, it's no Ray Parker Jr., but I actually don't mind listening to that song, which I'll admit it. I mean, it's no Ray Parker Jr., but I actually don't mind the song. And that's all the only positive I can say about this movie. I like Slimer. I mean, there were moments that did give me a laugh out of Leslie Jones, but for the most part, she wasn't funny. Chris Evans only gave me one laugh, but Slimer's the only one that gives me a laugh, and he's the one who has the best cameo ever. And the effects are better than the trailer, but still, it's not that good. It's just, it's too long. The story just keeps reminding you of the first movie, which you can't help it but keep comparing to the original film, especially for the cameos of Bill Murray and Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, and Annie Potts. Even Dan Aykroyd's cameo, well, I ain't afraid no ghost. His cameo in Casper, I think, is well executed than his cameo in this movie. Because in Casper, he says, "Who are you going to call? Someone else." So, yeah. I'm sorry that I really don't like this movie. I really don't. I mean, I wanted to like this film. I really do, because I love Ghostbusters. And no, I am not criticizing this film because of the gender. It has nothing to do with that. I'm not blaming these four actresses. I'm sure they have done better things of their career, but just them in this movie, there was no chemistry. And this movie is just, it really has no soul. that doesn't have much of a heart to it. I mean, when you have the first Ghostbusters movie, it really had a heart, and you have characters you like about. You love Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Henry Hunt. That you love these four guys, and you have lines that are very memorable. Because some of these lines in the movie, like "You got hosts, man," and doing pop culture references like "Say hello to my little friend" or "Don't be the mayor in Jaws. Don't you dare compare me to the mayor of Jaws." I remember my eyes again because this movie, there's not one thing that makes me like the characters. I mean, and I don't know how. Actually, I guess you do. I mean, there is some way you could have fixed this movie. I say get rid of the pop culture references, get rid of these pointless cameos, make the effects look a bit better, make the jokes more like. Even though I don't mean copy and paste the same humor as this film did, but just take note of what this film did, like how the comedy really does work, especially how you can make the dialogue more, I guess, make it Ghostbusters like, which is probably a lack of better term to say or words, I don't know, but you could have written better jokes like what these two Ghostbusters films did. Just give it a Ghostbusters like quality, but still try to be your own thing without having Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, everyone else have a cameo, and quit referencing the original film. It just be your own movie. And especially, of course, with the marketing, it lied. It said 4 scientists saved the world, and now a new team answered the call. Especially when they thought this film was going to be connected to the other film, but it wasn't. It was just more like it's a separate universe. So it's pretty much like it just wiped the can clean. So, and back to what I was saying about the original films, it had a heart, and you had characters you like about, especially towards the climax. The action scenes are fantastic. Of course they're doing much of that kung fu stuff like they did in the new movie, because that's what I'm saying. How are they able to learn kung fu? The gadgets are cool, but if you're gonna have them do all these weird kung fu martial arts stuff like John Woo or whatever, you got to have a reason for it. But nope, all of a sudden they know how to fight. They really know how to fight. Do this and that, and they know how to punch a ghost. There's just no reason. And there's nothing to like about the characters. I think the action scenes in the original film are better done than this, and the suspense levels is done better than this. And especially, you're just on the edge of your seat. You're wanting the Ghostbusters to win, especially toward the end. They have the cross the streams, and Fagman just says, "See you on the other side, Ray. Nice working with you, Dr. Fagman." You really, really fell in love with these characters, and you want them to win, and then they did. They become the heroes of New York City. And that's why this movie really works. It has a heart. And I'm going pretty much over dramatic here. There just seems a why this movie really works. Where there's a lot in this film that just doesn't work. And also, that bike that appeared on the behind the scenes photos, where Chris Hemsworth, until he got possessed by the villain when he starts driving on the bike, I thought that bike was going to become useful. That it was going to use some of the action scenes, and it has these little proton guns on top of the handler that it's like choo 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 when you're riding the bike. That would have been cool. It would have been really, really cool, but they didn't go with it. That bike was nothing. It was just there to show Chris Hemsworth that he could ride a bike. my. So, just a recap here. None of the jokes were funny. Unlikable characters. It's not well written, not well directed. The acting is just not that good. Everyone's just phoning in, trying to get a laugh out of us. And it's too long. Pointless cameos. The effects may look better, but they still look pretty bad. I love Slimer. He did get a laugh out of me, but he couldn't save the movie. And there are some creativity there, like the ghost gadgets, as well as the ghost balloons, but sadly, it wasn't creative enough, and sadly, you just can't help but compare it to the original film. So, all in all, folks, my rating for Ghostbusters 2016, I give this movie an A minus. I gave this movie a B. And now for this one, I'm gonna give the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot a D plus. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. if you really love this movie, that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with it. Just we can agree and disagree. But just don't tag me on the gender and all that stuff whatsoever. It has nothing to do with the gender. It has nothing to do with anything with all. It just, the way itself, it just wants well executed. And no, my childhood is not ruined. Because why? Because I have the original films, I have the second movie, and of course I do have the video game. Ghostbusters is not dead, y'all. Ghostbusters is not really dead. So I can still play the video game, and I can just put on the original film, and I can watch the sequel. And of course, I can read this awesome looking book I have right here. So, but again, if you like this movie, that's fine. But it's just not everyone's gonna be in the same boat. So, and also, if you really like this film, then please let me know. I wouldn't mind hearing why do you like this movie. I mean, all is fair. All is fair. So yeah, that concludes my review of the Ghostbusters movies, and I'm glad I got over seeing this movie. And now, of course, the sequel is already on hold, and I don't know if it's ever going to get made, which I hope not. So I really hope we don't get a sequel. I really hope not, because the way I just saw it just wasn't that good. So, and please don't attack me once again. I don't want to be getting a lot of hate about the whole gender thing. So, I mean, I know that Richard Robert got a lot of hate. As I remember from James Roll, as he said to the Porn Expo, he says that no matter what you say, they're always going to come after you with something. And I think I might get a lot of hate for this because I didn't give this movie a positive review. So, I'm sorry it's not a good review. I mean, I want to love the film, and I know y'all love it, but I really don't love this movie. But hey, some people love this film, and some people hate this film. And I know this movie is really meant for a new generation, but to me, I'm more like the older generation, because I am more like the original Ghostbusters. And of course, I am not a whiny fanboy, and like I said, this movie did not destroy my childhood. It did not. Because I have the game here, and I have the original movies. So, everything's fine. Ghostbusters is going to be okay. And now that since we don't know we're going to get a sequel, until summer 2020, it looks like we are. Now, my thoughts on the new Ghostbusters trailer, the teaser, it was first announced that Jason Reitman is officially going to be the new Ghostbusters 3 director, and they said it's going to be more connected to this film and a sequel. And I saw the teaser. It just shows like the barn and the camera just coming forward to dolly along to it, and you have the slime with the fins, and then you hear the sounds of the proton packs, and then of course the wind just blows. You hear Elmer Burns' music, and it shows the original Ectomobile, and I gotta say, it's actually a really good teaser trailer. And I just know that once again, Jason Reitman, who's the son of Ira Reitman, who did the first two Ghostbusters movies, is gonna direct the new Ghostbusters movies. Which is really enough, because back then, when he was offered to do Ghostbusters 3, he said that he would make the most boringest Ghostbusters movie ever, but now, I guess, he has a change of heart to it. And he did say that he wanted this to be a love letter to the first Ghostbusters movies. And the way that trailer was shot, it was very well filmed. I mean, it's still going to be a comedy, but the way it was filmed, it was shot like a horror movie. Like what this movie is. But I just really hope it's not doing the whole Force Awakens thing where like, oh, this is a sequel, but we're disguising it as a remake. Which, of course, I do like Force Awakens, by the way. And, of course, you have Leslie Jones making a big deal about it and comparing to Donald Trump and this and that. And also, so Jason Reitman got a lot of hate as well. But Jason Reitman had to assure fans that he actually is a fan of this movie. And Paul Feig himself, he stood up for Leslie Jones. And, of course, he did stand up for Jason Reitman. And he is looking forward to what his vision is for the new Ghostbusters movie. And, of course, we got actors like Carrie Coon playing the mom and Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, which, of course, this movie's going to feature 2 boys and 2 girls as teenagers. So we can be fair with the whole gender situation, that it doesn't always have to be an all-male cast or an all-out female cast. Because the Ghostbusters could be a boy or a girl, which, of course, like I have in the comics or in the cartoons, especially Extreme Ghostbusters. And I know Ginny Milnes was a Ghostbuster in the real Ghostbusters cartoon. So, I don't know what to expect, especially I'm not sure if Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, or Ernie Hudson are going to reprise the roles in the new Ghostbusters movie. But at the end of it, I'm very curious to see how that new one's going to turn out. And hopefully it's good. Hopefully I see some more footage of the trailer. But I just pray that that new Ghostbusters movie is marketed better than this. Just don't ruin the surprise like what this film did. Because that teaser, you don't see it nowadays. When was the last time you ever saw a trailer that was made for the trailer? The last time we ever got was the new Star Trek reboot from 2009. That's the one that's directed by J.J. Abrams. Which, of course, they shot that trailer. It was made for the movie. So, yeah. So, I don't know what to expect from the new Ghostbusters movie, but the way I hear for Jason Reitman, I guess I love this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it. Let's do it. So, anyway, I'm about to wrap this up now, and I really need to go to bed. So that's my review of the first Ghostbusters movie, a classic. Ghostbusters 2, a flawed but entertaining sequel. And the new Ghostbusters movie, not funny, not entertaining, but a movie that lacks any originality or creativity. And a movie I could just want to, I would definitely just stay away from it. But, once again, if you love this movie, that's okay. There is nothing wrong with y'all for loving this film. It's just, you can't just force others to saying that this movie's good or this movie's bad. Let he or she voice their own opinion, whether they like this film or not. If they like it, great. If they don't like it, that's also okay. I mean, I don't like this movie. And last but not least, I'll say it before I say it again, it did not ruin my childhood. Because we have the game, the comics, and the original films. As well as this book. Ghostbusters is going to be okay. And it depends on what generation you're in. Either this group or that group. So, all is fair to which generation you are in. Either you're like the older generation or the newer generation. And even though I'm glad I saw this movie, I'm glad I gave it a shot, I gave it a chance, but I just didn't like the film. But at least I gave it a chance. I gave it a chance for what it is, but sometimes not anyone's going to be on the same boat as anyone else. So, everyone can be on which side, whether they like this film or not. Opinion's opinion. Agree to disagree. So, anyway, thank you for watching my review of all three of the Ghostbusters movies. And as for the new one, I'll have to wait and see how it turns out. And let me know what you think of this video. And hopefully I didn't come off as being a jerk. I mean, if I did, then I apologize. I mean, I just had to get it all out of my chest about why I did not like this film. So, anyway, what do you think of this video? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. Feel free to put your comments down below, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So thanks for watching, take care. And now my next one is, I'm about to watch a movie that's going to lead me to the Yellow Brick Road, to Emerald City. And that movie is coming up next that I'm about to review. The Wizard of Oz. Thank you, and I'll see you later. Good night.